question over here. You. He's reading it.
I like to come prepared. Good evening, Jocko.
Good evening.
What lesson do you wish you'd have learned earlier in life that you now know?
It is discipline equals freedom. I mean, that is the thing that when I connected that together in my head, that the fact that applies to absolutely everything, that's the biggest lesson that I wish I would have learned earlier in life. And if I would have figured that out, then I would have been doing a lot better, and I would have done a lot better, and I would have been a lot better of a person. The thing that I try to tell kids, I try and tell them that for sure. But the other thing that I think kids miss is kids, and this is something that I completely missed as a kid. The actions that you take now affect your future. That sounds so obvious, but when you're 14, you just think, no, my life is only another 20 minutes. So what I'm doing right now doesn't really matter. So when I talk to kids, I try and explain to them that discipline equals freedom, and then I try to explain to them that what you're doing right now really will have an impact to where you are in the future. And I don't know if you listened to that podcast that I did, the Warrior Kid podcast that I did, number 19, about my friend Jeff. And I talked about it on the adult podcast as well, but it's a classic story. I had a best friend when I was little, and we separated friendship. We were still friends, but we drifted apart. He started getting into partying and getting into drugs and all that, and I didn't. And his trajectory in life just went down. And I joined the Navy, which was great, and it put me on a good path, almost involuntarily. But he ended up killing himself. And it was drugs and it was alcohol and it was just bad. But while I was going through buds, he killed himself. And what I tried to explain to the kids on the Warrior Kid podcast is like, the little decisions that you make, they matter. They add up. And you have to connect those dots. Otherwise, you don't know where you're going to end up. And it might be bad.